it's just an example. Purdue losing to Fresno State is okay. We can still win the Big Ten West. But me,
Billy Napier gets fired. I'm just kidding.
hey, really the best time of the year. I will be seated watching Red Zone for 7 hours on Sunday. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of Backyard Banter. Johnny, James, Tanner, fresh off a viral TikTok for a positive reason.
Yeah.
Our other viral clips were non-positive and were very hateful in the comments. These ones were nice, and it was about the Chiefs-Bills game. And now that we have the result of that game, and I'm so sick, I'm going to quickly say this before I turn it over to Tanner. I'm so sick of seeing everyone on Twitter saying, oh, the NFL is rigged. Roger Goodell tanked this to get the lowest ratings possible. Like, that makes sense, right? The commissioner of the league tanking the Super Bowl to get the lowest views possible. It was just terrible. But Tanner, what was your biggest? We'll start with the Chiefs and the Bills. What was your biggest takeaway from that game?
The Chiefs have been there, done that. They have that championship DNA. I think I mentioned that with them throughout the season and probably preseason. I did pick against the Chiefs, so I was wrong. But I really did think it was Josh Allen's year. And at the end of the day, I don't know if you guys keep tabs on Barstool, but Barstool Gruden, Coach Gruden had a great point. If you're playing in a championship game, you're going to the Super Bowl, and you have Josh Allen on your team, and you can't get 1 yard, less than a yard on 3rd and 4th down, you don't deserve to be in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So he was right about that, and I agree with him. You can't talk about the refs. At the end of the day, the Bills, when it came down to it in the trenches, when they needed those short yard situations, they were not very good. And it wasn't just that play. Like, some of their other short yardage conversions were like very 50-50. Like, they were close. And the Chiefs won at the line of scrimmage when it mattered. Patrick Mahomes is going to be approaching Tom Brady status here soon. It's crazy. We're going to see someone maybe win a 3rd straight Super Bowl. Think about how hard it is to do that. Like, think about how many things have to go right every single season. And the Chiefs are in position to do that. I think we're going to have a great Super Bowl. But yeah, at the end of the day, the Chiefs just in the 4th quarter, they made the plays when they needed to. The Bills will surely be back. You know, Josh Allen is very, very good. And I feel bad for Josh Allen because, man, he just looks so distraught after that game on Sunday. And you got to feel for him. But I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. I picked the Bills, but I honestly, like, I picked the Bills with my heart, not with my mind. Like, I'm not shocked at all.
Yeah, I think like a few things there. It's like they just know how to win. It's like, yeah, the Bills will be back, but the thing is, they won't be back if they don't make some changes. Like, teams have to learn how to win these games. Like, you're gonna have to get used to the AFC going through Arrowhead. Like, someone's got to go through and like figure it out. Like, it's so impressive, and we've talked about it before. Like, today at work, I was talking about just like the turnover in coaching from college to NFL to college. And it's like, we've talked about it. That's why it's so impressive what they're doing, because they're doing it in a world where if you have a good year, you lose your coach, or, you know, you lose your DC because look at the Lions. They lost both their coordinators, right? So it's like so impressive what the Chiefs have done. If you would have told me that the Chiefs were going to beat the Bills and Travis Kelce was going to have 2 catches,
yards.
like, I would have said you're crazy, right? But Xavier Worthy has been a name that I don't think we've brought up one time on this podcast. He's unbelievable. And they just know how to win football games. It was a great game. It was another great Bills-Chiefs game. I thought the officials for this game were actually like really solid. I don't think they were too bad. We've seen a lot of Chiefs games where they're bad. So I think that if the Chiefs were going to win, you knew what was going to happen, right? Like, we all know the officials are a little more for the Chiefs, but I thought they officiated this game pretty solid. So I wouldn't say the Bills lost because of that. Don't get me wrong. I'm very thankful that we don't have a Chiefs Commanders Super Bowl. That would have irked me, but I hate seeing the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl. But at the same time, we're watching greatness, and we're watching history, and we're watching something that probably might not ever be done again if they are able to win it. I mean, Tanner, we've been years in a row of not even making the playoffs, and we think that's hard to do. Imagine a world where you can win 3 Super Bowls, right? Like, so it's really impressive. So, I mean, shout out to the Chiefs, man. Every time that owner pops up, I should know his name by now, but every time he goes up there, he just looks like the happiest little fella I've ever seen in my entire life. And I mean, yeah, he's got it rolling out there. So shout out to the Chiefs. But the Bills, they got to figure out how to win that game because, I mean, they might be back in the same situation next year. And I mean, what are they going to do to kind of get past that and go play for a Super Bowl? So
Yeah, I was watching the game and like not one time did I ever think the Bills were going to win. Like in the previous games where the big one was the divisional round where Kansas City lost to Cincinnati the next year, and everyone's like, "Oh, Josh Allen didn't get a chance." He got a chance in this game. Like he had the ball to go win the game, and they didn't do it. And the way that they run their variation of the tush push is atrocious. And the fact that they couldn't adjust it, I know it's worked for them all year, but guess what? Didn't work in that game. Josh Allen stopped going to the left of the center. Like Tony Romo said it. It's in the scout that you go to the left. And that's part of the reason why they couldn't stop it. But it gets to a point like the game was the game, right? It was James, you hit it on the head. Super impressive that Kelsey had 2 catches for 19 yards and the Chiefs won. It was impressive that Kareem Hunt is their leading rusher and running like a man possessed. It's impressive that Xavier Worthy, who the Bills traded to the Chiefs, is killing them. Juju Smith-Schuster had 2 explosive plays, and then for the Bills, I mean, they were just lacking a difference maker at wide receiver, and they're already really good as it is. I think they need a difference maker wide receiver. I think they need an edge rusher because they have Von Miller. Von Miller didn't do anything. They got Ed Oliver is their best pass rusher. He's an inside guy, and it hurt my heart because Kyrie Elam went in. He went to Florida. He was a first-round pick for them, and he was just a complete liability right when he went into the game. And it's tough because this is a guy that was all conference, all American at University of Florida. And to go out there and to really be quite bad was shocking. But it's at the point where I texted this in my friend group chat back home. It's like we're never going to see anything like this again. You need to appreciate what's happening. Right, Tom Brady and the Patriots went to 3 straight Super Bowls, whatever it was. They didn't win them all. They won 1 when they went to 3. They might have won 2 when they went to 3 straight. It just doesn't happen like this. And you have Patrick Mahomes, who I don't think he'll ever be better than Brady because Brady beat him twice. It would be like if LeBron and MJ played, and MJ beat LeBron twice, once in the finals and once in the conference finals. Unless Mahomes somehow gets to 8, but that he might, which is a separate thing. But the reason why the Chiefs always win is because you see, James, you mentioned with the Lions, both their coordinators get poached. Well, guess what? No one wants to hire Speaks Spagnuolo to be a head coach. God knows why. He tuned up the most perfect blitz when it mattered most, and then obviously Andy Reid's the play caller there. And then right when the Bills turned it over on 4th down, when Josh Allen somehow even got the throw off to Kincaid down there, I was like, oh, the game's over. The Chiefs are getting 10 yards. Like, when have they not? And you knew they were going to do that bootleg to the outside, and Mahomes was either going to run for it or throw it to Pacheco or Hunt or Juju coming across. And it's just, we need to appreciate what is happening instead of hating. And do I want to see the Bills in the Super Bowl? Absolutely. Am I going to appreciate what's happening with Mahomes and Andy Reid? Like, absolutely. And we're talking about a team like Xavier Worthy's great. They don't have like a true bona fide number 1 receiver. They got a bunch of guys that are good, but they don't have a top 15 receiver on their team. And they're doing this, and I said it, and I said it last podcast. The way in 2019 when they won their first Super Bowl, when they were so dependent on the deep ball, Tyreek Hill and explosive plays, to now where they're literally like run the ball defense first, has been one of the best. And shout out to their front office, because guess what? You look on their defense, it's guys that they drafted and developed. They're not going out and signing people because they don't have any room under the salary cap. So, I mean, look, the Chiefs are the standard in an organization for all of sports. The way they draft and develop, the way they coach, the way they play. And, I got nothing but respect and admiration for them, because this run that they're on right now is something that I don't know if we'll see again in our lifetimes.
It's great.
Yeah. I got one more thing to say. Did you guys see what Nick Wright had to say about the Bills and Chiefs little rivalry?
He's from Kansas City, so I'm assuming he's going to relate it to James Harden and what's his face, Steph Curry.
Well, he said, and this is a very good point, that everybody makes fun of the Bears for drafting Mitchell Trubisky and passing on Patrick Mahomes. The Bills had the pick and traded it to Kansas City, and Kansas City drafted Patrick Mahomes when the Bills had Tyrod Taylor. So it's the Bills' own fault.
It's true, and let's not act here like they have a generational quarterback too. Like, I can't sit here and say that Patrick Mahomes on the Bills wouldn't have, maybe won that game, right? Like I don't want to say if the Vols, if Josh Allen was on the Chiefs and Mahomes was whatever. It's like I don't know if that changes much. Josh Allen, I mean, he is a top 3 quarterback in the league. Like he's probably going to win the MVP. Like, I mean, I saw that and I'm like, yeah, I understand, but it's not like they're out there with, you know, Kirk Cousins or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they have Josh Allen. Like he's a household name. I mean, he's a great quarterback in the league. So, but I hate Nick Wright. I mean, I'll just say that. I don't even.
I like Nick Wright's fine.
I hate Nick Wright. He's such a LeBron Glazer, and I hate people like that.
That's why I love Nick Wright.
Yeah.
All my TikTok is LeBron edits, which is incredible.
Yeah, LeBron.
But again, it's just it's James. You're right. Like the Bills have their guy. Like Josh Allen should be good enough. Even though the first 2 drives, I don't know what he was doing. He was just chucking the ball.
Just thinking about Haley or something.
Even Tony Romo one time, it's like, I think he's pointing at a flag there, but if he's not Jim, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But he's got that Brett Favre gunslinger mold. But we'll go to the NFC, and this game was a lot more not as exciting as the Commanders' run was going to end eventually, but it didn't end necessarily the way I thought it would. Like I knew Saquon was probably going to have explosives, and I knew Jalen Hurts would play better, even though he watched Backyard Banter. I kind of put him on blast last week. But look, if the Eagles play like this, their roster is better than the Chiefs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like they got 2 receivers, they got 3 corners, they have an edge rusher, they have 4 offensive linemen that are studs. They have the best running back, like maybe ever. He's literally Adrian Peterson. Like, it is incredible what this guy's doing. I've never seen an offense that gets their explosive plays through the run game. Like it is incredible. The first play from scrimmage, and was there any doubt? Like right when they did the pitch, it's like, it's like at least 25 yards.
Yeah.
And then he's faster than everyone. He's stronger than everyone. It is just impeccable. But the Commanders would have been in the game wasn't for the turnovers. I mean, look, they're a young team, and it's hard to go in the Lincoln NFC Championship and go win that game with a rookie quarterback. But man, Jaden Daniels did everything he can. 3 fumbles. And the Eagles scored 21 points off them. That's the game right there. You want to count. If you take out that garbage time touchdown at the end, you combine those points together, you give those points back. It's a real football game. But look, I picked the Commanders in the preseason to make the playoffs. I picked against them in every single round. But what they did in that franchise, what that franchise has been through with the ownership and everything that went on with FedEx Field and all that stuff. So I'm happy for the Commander fans that they were able to have that, moment where they were like the Bears for a long time, man. I mean, they were not, relevant. They made the playoffs one year at 7-9, and the year that the Bucs made the Super Bowl. But are the Bears relevant, James?
Don't use that word relevant when you're talking about the Bears. All right, like
you know what I mean.
You can
relevant,
say
not relevant nationally, relevant in the playoff Super Bowl picture.
Everyone's still talking about them.
I don't care about that. I'm talking about relevant in the
that's relevant
picture. But again, I don't know if we'll ever see an offense quite like what the Eagles have right now. I mean, it's been incredible what they've been able to do.
Yeah, I think Saquon Barkley is the best football player in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to talk about like positional value matters. The quarterback play is more important, right? But pound for pound, like just in terms of like production, like in terms of a statistical standpoint, Saquon Barkley is the best player in the NFL. Like he is what he is doing, what he has done to this Eagles team. Like this Eagles team was not very good towards the end of last season, and he has made them. I mean, he's took them to the Super Bowl, and they might win it. Like they have a real shot. I know we kind of been talking like the Chiefs are already going to get their 3rd Super Bowl, but like the Eagles have a legit chance to beat the Chiefs. I think what's the spread, like 1.5? Even matchup here, and Saquon. I think it's Saquon. Like the Chiefs don't have a player like Saquon Barkley. Sure, like I guess the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, but Saquon Barkley literally, when the ball's in his hands, doesn't matter where he's getting the ball at, he could score. Like any play he touches the ball, it doesn't matter. And I think the Eagles having that threat on their team, like that is what has made them this good this year. They didn't have a guy like that last year. James, we've seen it. DeAndre Swift is above average, but he's not that type of playmaker. And shout out to the Eagles. They went and spent the money on a position that people really don't want to spend money on nowadays, and it paid off. So you got to give a shout out to Howie Roseman, the Eagles GM. He is drafted really well, and their free agent acquisitions have been perfect. They've been spot on.
I mean, I don't know why more people just don't take their go draft Georgia defensive players. It's pretty
Right.
simple. Like Kirby's going to have them right.
Their criminal record does not matter entering the
Like,
draft. I
did
think that's
Jalen Carter like possibly kill someone and go 120 miles an hour in a car? Like, yeah, but is he probably one of the best like pass rushers at the defensive tackle position? Yeah,
Yeah. It's you got to weigh the pros and the cons when you're talking about these guys. So,
yeah.
no, I will say like one thing, and we talk about, we've talked about in the podcast during that free agency time when all those running backs were like nobody's getting paid, and we kind of talked about it. Well, it's like, well, if you build a good offensive line and you pay for a good offensive line, all these guys that are fast can run through those holes, and it's like nobody can do what Saquon's doing. Nobody. Like he busted on the outside, and it's like he's not even going through the line. Like he's just doing stuff that we haven't seen, like truthfully, since like you watch Adrian Peterson like YouTube videos, right, or something like that. So you talk about like MVP, right? And I totally agree, Tanner. Like I think he is the best player this year. You talk about MVP, they always say, well, if you take that person off the roster, will they still be as good? And it's like, I completely understand, but then if you say it like that, then it's always going to be a quarterback award because the quarterback is literally the facilitator of everything, right? Like, but Jalen Hurts, the one thing Jalen Hurts does really well is he doesn't really turn the ball over. You know why that is? Because he doesn't really put the ball into harm's way because a lot of his throws are like, 10-yard routes. And then sometimes he just gets bailed out because they do have great receivers. Like, I mean, this team is so built for this moment. Like they are so built to win a Super Bowl. The Commanders, they lost to the Super Bowl champs. Like, I mean, shout out to the Commanders
You
for
pick
that.
against the Chiefs in every single round, and they're
I
not.
I literally picked the Chiefs to beat the Bills. So I don't want to hear it. I picked the Chiefs to beat the Bills. So
Did you? I thought you were
did.
picking the Ravens Bills game was like whoever
I did,
wins
but
this
then I
game.
like changed my mind. I did say that like 3 weeks ago, but then I changed my mind because I watched the game. But no, I think Saquon is unbelievable. I mean, he just like everyone's talking about him before this game, right? Like we even said it. The Commanders have the third worst run defense. Like he's gonna have a great game. First play, boom, 60 yards, touchdown. It's like, holy crap! Like this dude's unbelievable. Yeah, and Jalen Hurts played a good game. So the Commanders will be back. That's an unfortunate statement. I hate the Commanders. I hate the Commanders fans.
You hate them off one play.
No, I hate them off one fan. I don't even care about the game. I mean, I blame Stevenson more than that, but I don't really care. But yeah, the Commanders will be back. Jaden Daniels, I mean, he's already got the poise to, I think, win a game like that. I mean, he doesn't look like a rookie at all. So he was incredible. Pretty good run. I think we kind of excited to see. We've got a lot of really exciting year 2 NFL quarterbacks that we're going to be able to watch. We've already talked about it. Obviously,
Bull or Drake May is who we're going to watch.
I mean, yeah, Drake May, you got Bo Nix, like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. So a lot of really good guys that hopefully can all be good NFL quarterbacks, but it's a big year 2 for all those quarterbacks. So we'll see. The Eagles, they're incredible. So I'm so happy. I think I picked the Eagles to be in the Super Bowl preseason. I'm just going to say that. I don't know for sure. I was looking back at our videos and we labeled them so like weird, and I didn't really want to go watch all of us talk for 3 straight hours. So, but shout out to Philly, man.
I do want to say one thing. If I have to see them like the Giants GMs like not pick Saquon, like sign Saquon again, like I might delete Instagram.
Yeah, I see.
Saquon is not doing this behind that Giants offense line at MetLife. I'll tell you that much.
No.
Like, don't get me wrong, he'll still be a menace, but I mean, he's not getting
stay healthy
2K.
at MetLife turf. I mean, come on now.
I'm saying. You want another
Jaden
thing,
Daniels, I'm gonna just say this right now. He's gonna be a lot like Joe Burrow, where like everybody's gonna. I guess Joe Burrow got hurt his first year, but Joe Burrow's true like first year, full year starting. He went to the Super Bowl,
AFC Championship. Yeah.
Ever since then, Joe Burrow hasn't been back, and I don't think Jaden Daniels is gonna get back. So that's just what I want to say.
I don't know. Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow went back the next year, but you mean I see what you're saying. But anyway, speaking of the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, we have a grid.
Oh no!
As James is already complaining about the grid before, it ties in.
Oh.
This should not be too difficult. It should be quite easy. That's why each of you guys are going to get 2 strikes. But you guys are going to name the runner-up for each Super Bowl. So on the screen now is who won that Super Bowl. And so the Bucks won in 2021, but it was the 2020 season. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it was the year that they won. So Chiefs beat whoever. It was the 2019 season, but it was played in February 2020.
Can I go first?
Yes.
I can put the 2007 one. It was our beloved Chicago Bears
And do you know why I went to 2007?
because of the Bears.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
1 for 1.
08 was the Patriots.
Oh, you guys are going to go backwards.
Oh, see, I didn't like that, Tanner. I'm not going in order. I'm just gonna put the 49ers of last year.
Okay.
2009 Cardinals.
That is true. Tanner's going to run through this. We might have to go even deeper.
2023 was a rematch. We got the Eagles.
Yes.
2010 was the Colts.
Yes, it was. We should have played, said where the games were. Maybe that would have been more of a challenge.
2022 was the Bengals.
That's true.
2011 was the Steelers.
Yes, it was.
2012 was the Patriots. I know that. I'm gonna steal that one from Tanner.
Mm-hmm.
2013 was the 49ers.
I knew I should have gotten deeper. You guys are going to run through this.
2021, the Buccaneers beat the Chiefs.
Yes.
2014 would have been the Broncos.
Yes.
2020, Chiefs beat the Niners.
Yes.
Come on.
2015 was the Seahawks.
Yes. James is going to slip up on one. I feel it.
I know. I'm looking at these.
Patriots ones run together.
2019, Patriots beat the. No.
Final
Rams.
answer 3.
Rams.
Yes.
Oh, right.
2016 Carolina Panthers.
Yes. James Andrew.
I know.
Come on. These last two are both pretty memorable.
Okay, so the 18 was the Philly special. So that's the Pats.
Yeah. James, who was 2017?
I know.
I'm going to make you go back to back.
Okay. Can you tell me where it was played?
Houston. NRG Stadium.
What the hell? Super Bowl 50. What was that? Super Bowl 52? 50.
51.
51.
It's like probably the most famous Super Bowl ever.
Oh, Falcons. Duh.
Yeah.
I'm back. Come on.
Okay, so we're going to go a little bit deeper since you guys ran through that. I'm going to give you the team that won. So the year before that, the year before the Bears lost, the Steelers won in 2006. Who do they beat?
Seahawks?
Yes, good job, James. All right, this is where it gets hard, and maybe I should have gone to this part. In 2005, when the Patriots won 3 in 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
who do they beat in 2005?
I have no idea.
Tanner, you know? It was on a walk-off field. Oh, was it a walk-off field or no?
That would
This
have been
one
the Panthers then, right?
No,
that was the year before that.
Yep, that was the year before.
I think it was a walk-off field goal.
No, the Panthers one was a walk-off field goal. This one was not.
Oh, okay. See, you misled me there.
Yeah.
I know the Panthers were 2004. I don't know who's 05.
This team was in the playoffs this year.
Was in the playoffs?
Yes, they made the playoffs this
They're
year.
no longer in the playoffs.
I'm just gonna say they're in the playoffs this year.
That means it's the Eagles.
God, you guys suck. I shouldn't even give it a hint. All right, we're gonna keep going until someone gets it wrong. 2003, the Bucks won.
Oh, that's easy. Come on, that was a blowout. Raiders.
Yep. Year before that, the Patriots won their first one.
That would have been the. Was that the field goal one?
Yeah. Well, there's 2 field goal ones, but yeah.
So that was the Panthers, right?
No, there's 2 field goal ones. The first
What year
one.
are we in? 2000.
This is the
2000.
Rams?
We're in 2002. This is Brady's first.
Is it St. Louis? Did Tanner say
Yep.
St. Louis?
Oh, did he? Yeah, greatest show on
Yeah.
turf. And then
Yeah, I said
this is the last one we'll do. The Ravens won in 2001.
Yeah, it was another blowout, I think. Right?
Some say the greatest defense of all time. Who
not
they
true.
The
Bears have the
Giants.
2 best ever.
Giants. They
Good.
blew out the Giants.
Good. You guys did work.
Come
Proud
on.
of you guys. Way to step it in. Way to step it
No,
up.
Tanner.
Good
No,
good
boy.
first grid back.
If you didn't hit those, I would have struggled in those first ones that you got after the Bears. So shout out to you for
We need a layup to get you guys back into it. You know what I
Right.
mean? A little layup, get back into it. One of you guys will make the grid for next week. Can be on anything. Doesn't have to be.
probably going to be who averaged 5 assists in 2014 college basketball.
I love that. I love Tanner's college basketball. I own those.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Anyway, speaking of college basketball, this is going to be a shorter episode just because we're in that time of the year where there's not as much to talk about. We're going to briefly talk about some college basketball. And James's Illini are in shambles right now. They're in a tough part of the schedule.
Bro, you need to calm down with this like in shambles thing. Like this is not a segment of in shambles. They're fine.
Yeah, we should come back to do that. But Tanner, we'll go to you first. This is a broad question, but we talked about college basketball a little bit last week. But in the last 2 weeks, what's been the thing that stuck out to you most?
The thing that has stuck out to me the most is that we are officially in the grit and grind part of the season, which for me, that means this is when we're going to start seeing these random upsets pop up. Doesn't really matter where the game's played at. But when there's regular season titles up for grabs, there's conference championship races, you're going to get a ton of weird results. I think that's kind of the parody of college basketball. I guess that's what you would call it. The parody of college basketball really starts in this time of the year, and it lasts all the way through March. But we're talking about things like Houston this past Saturday being down 6 with 20 seconds and Kansas shooting double bonus, and Houston finds a way to win. Or does Kansas just lose that game? I mean, it's a little bit of both. But Ohio State going into Mackey and beating Purdue. Like just random results like that are going to happen because you're in that part of conference play where teams are starting to figure it out. Teams are coming off road trips. Teams are playing, maybe a 5th game in 16 days or something like that. Like this is kind of when schedules kind of align differently for each team. Like I know Michigan State has a big stretch of like 8 games and like 20 some days coming up. So we're going to start seeing a bunch of random results, a bunch of random upsets, and just like crazy finishes. I mean, college basketball has been, sorry, bumped my computer. College basketball has been something I've watched since I was as young as I can remember. It's by far my favorite sport to sit down and tune into. And I've had so much joy watching this season of college hoops because one, I think it's wide open. Sure, there are some teams that you can tell are going to probably go deep in March. But last year you had UConn. Houston was in that realm for a little bit. You had Purdue in it. This year there's not like one team that you're just like, oh, like nobody's beating them in March. Like it's wide open, and there's been some unbelievable games, some unbelievable finishes. Like to me, this is why it's the best sport in the world, because anybody can beat anybody on any given night. And these games, like the last 2 weeks, there have been so many games that have just come down to the wire, and it's play after play down the stretch. And I mean, if you're not tuned into college hoops, especially this season, in a season where the number 1 draft pick in the NBA is on Duke, everything about this college basketball season has made it special and so enjoyable. And I just got a shout out to the best sport in the world, and we haven't even entered into March yet. Oh my goodness, I could talk for days about college hoops, but those are my takeaways. It's the best sport in the world.
Tanner, I'm gonna give you one more question, a quick answer here. One sleeper team that could make the Final Four. That's maybe not in the top 15 to 20.
That's not in the top 15 to 20. All right, let me go look at the AP poll real quick, and I can give you one quick. I just want to.
The AP poll is fraudulent anyway.
Yesterday.
So fraudy.
I say that as Florida's ranked number 5.
Right.
I'm gonna go with.
They won last week.
I think I'm gonna go with Gonzaga. I like Nembhard a lot. Graham Ike is good. They have a lot of depth in their front court. They have talented guards. And Mark Few, He's one of those coaches that I think is slept
He's
on,
getting the second weekend.
probably because of their West Coast, but Gonzaga is going to be in the second weekend, and
Yeah.
they were a team that was very highly touted preseason, and they played a tough non-con as they should every single year, and they are prepared, I think, for a deep run in March. They have what you need, right? They have the depth in the front court, they have an elite guard, an elite head coach, and I think Gonzaga is going to be primed for a run come March. They're not ranked right now, but just when I look at like 15 through the teams receiving votes, that's the team I'm the most confident in right now. I kind of want to give a little bit of a shout out to there was another team that caught my eye. Hold on. St. John's. I know they're 15th, but St. John's under Patino, talented backcourt. They have a Kansas transfer averaging 14 a game for them. Big East is a little bit down this year, but they are, them and Marquette are the two best teams in the Big East, and St. John's coming out of the Big East. I don't think they're going to make the Final Four, but I think they're going to make the second weekend. So I would say that's my other answer for kind of like maybe not top of the list Final Four contenders, but kind of that middle tier.
Yeah, I think I love college sports, like college football, college basketball. I mean, don't get me wrong, watching NFL playoffs, watching MLB baseball, like it still has my heart, but like college sports is just electric. I mean, the fact that they can pack in 100,000 for a football game, like easily, right? And then college basketball, like everyone's tuned in. Like Tanner loves some mid-major basketball. Like I'm sure we're all gonna be tuned in to some mid-major basketball tonight and stuff like that. So I think my take on this season, and we've kind of said it, we're at what 104 episodes, something like that. I think we've said it since episode 1. The talent gap for college basketball is just getting smaller and smaller from the big schools to your mid majors. Like, and that's why I think this season it's looking more imperative. Like, I'm not. You look at the top 10, it's a lot of big schools, right? It's huge schools that have been good in years past, but like Duke isn't just going to be this team that only gets the best players. Like Duke is very good this season because Cooper Flag is he's a generational talent, right? Like he's an incredible basketball player and really fun to watch. But I just think that talent gap is getting smaller and smaller year after year because kids are just getting like bigger, faster, and stronger. Like there are dudes. Every team has a dude. Like it's incredible, and I think a team that Tanner, I thought you might have said when you asked about a sleeper team like Memphis, Mizzou, like teams that you really could see beat anybody. I mean, you talk about the Big East being down. Like, let's not. I mean, I know UConn's not UConn, but don't count out UConn. Like, UConn is still an incredible program, and I think that my biggest point is just that talent gap is getting smaller, and I mean, it's gonna continue to get better and better. I mean, the beautiful thing about like the NFL and then the NBA is these kids have to go to college and they have to develop and stuff like that. And these kids just come into college basketball and they're ready to go. I mean, think about how many freshmen that we have are just like already outstanding college basketball players in a world where they're probably playing against 24-year-olds, right? Like that's still a thing, right? And so I think it's incredible at college basketball. The state of college basketball is unbelievable. I think Auburn's still the best team in the country. They're the only team that I could see right now. If you had to like tell me who's going to be in the Final Four, I could only give you really one team. It's going to be Auburn. But again, like we've watched some incredible showdowns. I know Tanner and I we were talking about that Kansas game. Like, sure, Kansas kind of gave it away, right? I mean, so be it. But you still got to go out and win that game. And I mean, so it's incredible what college basketball is up to. And again, year after year, it's going to keep getting better and better because kids are just getting better at the game. Like they must be watching a lot of LeBron. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it's getting better. So it's amazing. If you love college sports, it's a great. It's the best level. I mean, it's way better than the pros. I don't even care. Like way better than the pros. So
yeah. And real quick, sorry, John. I've maybe forgot to give a team love that I think deserves some love. I don't think they're going to go like crazy far in March, but this is a team that's going to be a 6, 7, maybe an 8 seed, and they're capable of knocking off a 1, 2, or a 3, and that's going to be New Mexico. Keep your eye on New Mexico. Donovan
Man,
Dent is
I
a
say they got
top
the
5
best point
pick
guard
in
in
the
the
country.
country right now.
Donovan Dent is unreal. I mean, New Mexico had Jalen House last year and Donovan Dent, but Jalen
Yeah.
House was like a stud. Donovan Dent has been way better than Jalen House
Way
ever
better.
was for
Yeah.
them, and they are going to be dangerous in March. I that's a team that if Purdue's a 2 or 3, I don't want to see New Mexico there because Donovan Dent and Braden Smith can go at it, and Donovan Dent can outperform Braden Smith. And I love Braden Smith. I think he's the best point guard in the country. But Donovan Dent for 40 minutes can outplay Braden Smith. Like he's capable of doing that.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I actually don't think Auburn's getting enough love for what they're doing. I mean, they won 11 in a row. They survived without Broome. With that being said, I don't love them. If they like, you had to tell me like one pick to win the national championship, I would pick Iowa State, man. Like I love Iowa State. I love the way that they guard. They had a really tough break last night. Shout out to Caleb Love hitting that shot. But to me, I think in order to go incredibly deep in March, unless you have a Zach Edey on your team, your best player needs to be a guard. It's very rare that we see big men oriented teams go in, like to win the national championship. Like you argue UConn, Donovan Clingham. I think Tristan Newton was their best player. Who are they going to when they need a bucket? They're going to Tristan Newton. He won the MLP back to back years. And so that's kind of what I look for. And I would pick Broome to be player of the year right now over Flag, even though he missed the 2 games. Like he's been incredible. But you look at that Auburn backcourt. And it's the reason why I didn't pick Michigan to win the Big Ten when we did that. Pettiford's really good, but he comes off the bench. Denver Jones is fine defensively, not giving you all that much offensively, right? And Chad Baker-Mazara, I know he's more of a wing, but I still refuse to believe that he can shoot 45% from 3 the entire year. I refuse to believe it. It is going to dip at some point. But they haven't lost in the toughest conference in basketball right now, and it's really surprising because man, they've had some tests. They've had some tests, and they're going to keep having tests. I mean, Kentucky and Tennessee are playing right now, and it's just always a battle in that conference. To me, a team that could go to the Final Four is a little bit underrated right now. I really like Ole Miss. I'm telling you, Ole Miss. Final Four is a little bit of a stretch, but Tanner, they really kind of remind me of that New Mexico State where they're going to be that 6-7 seed. And if I'm a 2 seed, I will not want to play Ole Miss. They have length. They have the Padula guy that's a guard that can really shoot it. He's going to – any night he can give you 25. And I kind of said, like, Diaz, their best player. He's a big. But, you want a sleeper team that I really enjoy watching. I really like watching Ole Miss. So we say it all the time. Chris Pierce is a terrible human. He's a very good basketball coach. And Ole Miss is not some powerhouse program. He's going to have him in the tournament for the first time in a while. I really like
whether it's football, basketball. I mean, you love the Rebels. I
was high on them this year for football, but I've watched a lot of Ole Miss. I've watched a lot of SEC, and Ole Miss has really kind of caught my eye.
Dre Davis, Dre Davis, pretty good too.
Yeah, and the Merrill kid too. I really like. He's long and athletic.
The Duke transfer.
Yeah. Tanner, I like your St. John's pick. I like St. John's as well. I think they're sneaky good. I also think I'm just going through the conferences in my head. Like I still think this is kind of a cop out. I still think Kansas can make the Final Four. Like the thing that disgusted me about Kansas in that game is their complete lack of effort in overtime in the last few minutes. But if you're going to rank like the 10 most talented teams in the country, Kansas is one of the 10 most talented teams in the country. And Bill Self runs beautiful offense. So if you were to tell me that Kansas is going to win 4 games and, get a favorable draw and, maybe get like no hate on Michigan State, but maybe like Michigan State is at 3 or 2 seed if Michigan State keeps going in this projection, that's another team that I could see hypothetically, kind of getting there.
Kansas can't guard a pick and roll. They're one of the worst pick and roll defensive teams in the country.
I think Kansas is so fraudulent.
So I think I would agree with you. Their roster is extremely talented, and I mean it's a top 10 roster in college basketball. But at the end of the day, if you can't guard a pick and roll, which they can't, they don't have the personnel to do that. One, they don't have the personnel, and 2, I mean, the personnel that is out there sucks at it. Hunter Dickinson can't move, and then when you put KJ Adams in to guard a pick and roll, you're extremely limited offensively. So I think Kansas, despite their talent, it's not talent that meshes well together, which is why I'm not as high on Kansas.
I'm not as high as Kansas too, but I'm saying that Kansas is super low right now. And if Kansas were to win 4 straight games in March, I wouldn't be like, oh my goodness, this is Loyola Chicago 2018.
Right.
It would be, something that, I could see hypothetically happening. But keep watch on the Rebels. That being said, they're probably going to lose a few games in a row here, but you want to
I
lock.
like the Rebels.
Vanderbilt goes to Oklahoma, and that spread isn't out yet. Whatever Oklahoma is, take Oklahoma. Vanderbilt's coming off 2 huge wins. They go into Norman. Anyway, that's just been in my head for a while.
You digress.
Any last comments, boys?
No, I mean, the Illini, man, everyone needs to calm down. Johnny, you talked about the Illini.
Mono's going around the line, man.
I tell you what, we got to start wearing masks again because everyone's getting mono. Like, I don't know what's going on. Mono, you're growing up and you're like, don't share pop cans. It's the kissing disease, whatever. And it's like everyone's getting mono now. Ivisic is out for the Illini for probably 2-3 weeks because apparently it really messes you up. I've never had mono. Gonna stay away from that. Knock on wood. But yeah, I think the Illini will be fine. I don't think personally there's no chance they're going to come back and win the regular season, right? Like that. I mean, Michigan State, they're hooping right now. I still don't think they're that good of a team, but I'm excited to see. I don't know. I think Illinois does play them in Champaign in middle of February. So really excited for that game, kind of just to see that rematch. I think one thing that I texted, in the group chat after Illinois lost to Michigan State is like, thank God March isn't played at like home sites. Cause like, I mean, I told Tanner, like if Purdue could play at home until the Final Four, they'd be in the Final Four for forever. Like, I mean,
they wouldn't lose to North Texas.
Yeah, or FDU.
I don't even want to bring up FDU.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Not losing St. Peter's either.
I think that's what's really incredible about this, and it goes back to my point about college sports. Like these arenas and these facilities and these just venues is just incredible. That any given night, apparently Ohio State can go beat Purdue, and apparently Maryland can go beat Illinois. Like college basketball,
Oregon,
it's fantastic. Any upset can happen any given night. And we've seen that in March the last 6 years, 7 years, where the upsets have been more common. And I'm telling you, it's just going to keep going. Like the world of Purdue and Virginia being the only 1 seeds to lose to a 16 seed, it's going to change. I'm going to guess like in the next 20 years, we might see like 3, 4, 5 of them. Like I'm telling you right now, that the disparity in talent is not monumental. So I think that's what's really great about college sports.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll wrap it there. If you guys made it to the end, like, subscribe, comment, and we will see you guys next time.
See ya. Peace.